Hi Flosstube friends, it's Sherry, Colorado Cross Stitcher on Flosstube and also on Instagram. Welcome to my Flosstube channel. This is a video about cross stitching and finishing ideas and all kinds of things. I have Ollie with me today because he had a tough August and he's doing so good now. He had all these tests and the first time they came back with, oh gosh, there's like 6 things wrong with him. And we just took him in because he was barfing every few days. And anyway, he's doing really good. He's gaining weight again. He's got his energy back. You can't tell with him just hanging out here, but this is his favorite position, just kind of hanging out. So anyways, August. August was a busy month, and August is typically not my favorite month of the year. We had a bad car accident in August 26 years ago, and everybody survived, but it was bad. And so that anniversary is always tough on us. And I don't know, August, but this year I was so excited because I was going to go to summer school at the attic. And you know, I was looking forward to that so much. I have a small business. I own the Loopy U, which is a yarn shop, and I think when you have a small business, you think about it all the time, and it is always going around in my mind. I'm not a workaholic because I'm really good at coming home in the evenings and cross-stitching or knitting or, you know, relaxing. I don't feel a need to work 7 days a week, but somehow when I am able to go out of town, even for a quick weekend, it helps reset my brain, and I don't think the whole weekend about work and what I should be doing and what I could be doing. And so I have so missed that during COVID, not being able to travel for even just a quick weekend. So I was really looking forward to my trip to the attic. Well, about 3 weeks before our son got COVID, even though he was, of course, vaccinated and super careful, and then I just kept hearing about more and more people getting it. I work with high risk. Oh, okay, Ollie's done now. All right, bye. I work with high risk people, and I just felt convicted that I shouldn't take the chance. I would, of course, feel terrible. Ollie, go, babe. I would, of course, feel terrible if I was the one that brought that back to anybody. And, you know, we've all been vaccinated, but this Delta stuff. Anyway, I decided I probably shouldn't go, and it was such a hard decision. And I'm telling you what, I moped around here the entire week of summer school. I was just so sad. I was missing out on my friends. I was so looking forward to visiting the sampler, you know, Mecca, the silk palace, all of the wonderful things, meeting Jean and Carolyn, and it was a bummer. It was a bummer, and it was wonderful to see videos and kind of wonderful to see videos and pictures of that weekend. Kind of sad, but I'm so glad everybody was able to go and have such a good time, and I haven't heard about anybody getting sick, so then of course I'm thinking I should have gone, but hopefully, Jean, please let me come next year because I'm so looking forward to it already, and it's a whole year away. So that was August. And then, okay, this is like not important at all in the grand scheme of things, or the other 2 things I shared, but you know how I told you I was doing pumpkins this year? I think I shared a couple of videos ago how the little chipmunk got into the little seed cups that we put out, ate all the pumpkin seeds, and I had 2 left over. I threw them in the ground, didn't expect anything, and they grew. And I've got this huge, you can't even see how big, pumpkin plant vine. I mean, it's going all over. There are dozens, well, probably 12.5. Okay, don't exaggerate. 12.5 blossoms on there. I was so excited. I thought I'm going to get a ton of pumpkins from this plant. Paul built a special cage to put over it so that the chipmunks and the squirrels wouldn't eat the blossoms. And it was just doing so well, but I was getting 0 pumpkins. And I talked to my friend Cheryl, and she said, oh, there's male blossoms and female blossoms. Didn't know that. So we looked it up, and the female blossoms have the little pumpkin underneath the blossom. So I went back and looked, and there was one blossom like that. So I was so excited. I thought, well, at least I'll get one, and then I'll have pumpkin seeds to plant next year. And then after about a week, it turned yellow. It fell off the vine. So I talked to her, and she's like, well, it didn't get fertilized. And apparently it can get fertilized from the same plant, from male blossoms, female blossoms. And I'd seen lots of bees buzzing around in there, you know, collecting the pollen or whatever. So I don't know. I just have a pumpkin plant that's not interested in producing pumpkins. I went out there just now before I started filming, and it's still got lots of blossoms. It's all healthy looking. And then my other gardening project for the summer was a sunflower. Now last year I planted sunflowers, and the squirrels ate them all as they grew. So that was a bust. This year I had a little plant. I don't know if I told you this on the last video. I can't remember. A little plant growing in my pink potted railing plants, and I put on Instagram, is this a weed or is this something? And everybody's like, oh, that's a sunflower. So we planted it in a pot, got 4 feet tall. It was doing wonderful. You know, the whole flower bloomed. I was thinking, well, I'll get pumpkin seed or sunflower seeds for next summer. Maybe I'll try somehow to plant them again. Well, a few days ago, Paul was in the kitchen, and at the back of the kitchen is the deck, and we have this big window looking out over the deck, and we have a chair out on the deck, or bench, bumped up against the window. So he looks out, and there is a squirrel with his nose pressed to the glass on top of the bench, which is weird because we've never had squirrels do that before. So he's getting his phone, thinking, I'm going to take a picture. Walk over there. The squirrel had chewed the entire head of the sunflower off and either eaten the entire thing or taken it away. There were like 3 little yellow petals on the deck right underneath the pot. And I think that squirrel just wanted us to know what he had done. He was proud of himself, and then he ran off. Haven't seen him on that bench since. So my gardening for August, for the whole summer, has not been successful. My stitching has been successful. So let's talk about stitching. So I have 5 finishes today, 2 oldie but goodies that I just found in my craft cabinet. Plans, I have 2 free patterns that I designed for you that I'm excited to share, and I have big news. All right, so let's jump into it. So Cross Stitch Camp is done. It has been so much fun this summer to do this virtual camp with you guys, and thank you for participating. Huge thank you to all of the people who donated prizes. We had wonderful prizes. I posted on my Instagram account yesterday, August 2nd, the winners for August, and there were 8 of them. 1 grand prize winner, and I choose that from all the people who finish their project, and then 7 other prize winners from all of the participants. And of course, it's all random drawings. I had so much fun keeping track of your projects this summer. I made a whole list of everybody as they, tagged me that they were participating, and then I went and checked your name off when you posted your finished picture. And the fun part of it for me was I really got to know your names. So when you would comment on my Instagram posts or you would comment on my Flosstube, I recognized you and knew you were a camper and felt like I knew you. So that has been super fun. It was really fun to see everybody using different fabrics, different flosses, new designers. I think everybody branched out a little bit this summer, which was fun to watch. And I just enjoyed it so much. So it's over for the summer. We have a special 1-month challenge in February. We're calling it Winter Camp. And then we'll be back next summer for Cross Stitch Camp again. So I hope if you didn't join us, you'll still join us in February, and you'll still join us next summer. And I'm going to keep the Facebook group open, so if you'd like to join us there, because everybody's very chatty, we're having fun, we're sharing our projects, please pop over on Facebook to Cross Stitch Camp, 3 words with an exclamation at the end. And there's a couple of, or 1 question, I think, to join. I keep it as a private group so nobody has to worry about, I don't know, bots or anything getting in. So please answer the 1 question, which is who's your favorite designer? and then we'll get you approved and right in there. So join us if you would like to. Also check hashtag Cross Stitch Camp on Instagram. There's over 5,000 posts of people posting their progress and their projects, and so it's really fun to look through, and of course it's very enabling. You'll probably add some stash to your wish list or some ideas to your wish list, but it's really fun to see what everybody worked on. Okay, last time the question of the day was, is there a big project that you have either wanted to do or started and not finished and would like to work on? Because in September, people were saying in the Cross Stitch Camp group, oh, we don't want it to end. And so I thought, and I shared this in my last Flosstube, it would be fun to do Showstopper Stitch Along, hashtag Showstopper SAL in September. Now I know that we all do Sampler September, and I always participate in that, but not everybody does samplers. So I thought, well, if you don't do samplers and don't want to do Sampler September, you could do Showstopper Stitch Along. And I'm doing both because my project is a sampler and it's also a showstopper. And I shared that last time, I'll show you this time too. So that is something I was curious about when I asked the question of the day. So it was fun reading all of your comments about what you have done, what you'd like to get done, and all of those things. I'm just looking because I don't have my phone, and I was going to try and keep track to make sure I didn't go too long today because I have so much to tell you. All right, we'll just keep going. I don't have a phone. I don't have a clock. I hope it's not too long. All right, so we also talked in the comments last time about changing things up because my video was in response to a comment I got the time before about changing things, and it promoted a really great discussion, and I so appreciated all of your comments. I didn't have anybody say, no, you're not allowed to, change things up. So it seems like a lot of people are in agreement, and it's so fun to read that so many of you are starting to add more personalization to your pieces and making them more special to you, so I think that's really fun. All right. On to the projects. So first I want to show you these two projects. I have no memory of doing one, and I have a memory of doing the other. They were folded up in a plastic bag in one of my craft cabinets, and the funny thing is, on this one, every time I would see this pattern, I'd think, oh, that's so cute, I should do that. And I'd already done it, like, I don't know, 15 years ago or whatever. I think it's a Cricut collection pattern, but it's Be Thankful, and I'm so glad to find this because I'm going to be able to frame it and put it up for the holidays, for the fall season. So that one was super fun. No clue what fabric this is, although I imagine it's probably 32 count because I'm not even sure if we had 36 count. Do we have 36 count? No, it's probably more like 20 years ago. Did we have 36 count fabric then? But I can tell I stitched with 2 threads, so that's why I'm thinking it's probably a 32 count. Anyway, the other one, I don't know who did this. I know it was a kit because the button came with it, and I love the color of the fabric, which I also don't know what that is. And it looks like it was stitched with over-dyed threads, so if anybody knows who that designer is, please let me know. And I think with that one I will probably finish it as a pillow. So those were 2 fun finds that I forgot I had. All right, so current projects. Well, I did remember last time I told you how I was going to do something on the top of this orange and black Sanka can because I was sitting having my coffee, speaking of Sanka, and looking up at top of my kitchen cabinets, which have baskets and old tins, and thinking, gosh, that would be such a fun tin for Halloween. So out of this Winds of Autumn book, I got the October 31st pattern, and it fit perfectly on the top in a 36 count fabric of some origin, and I just used DMC 310. So there is my finish for that, and that was really fun to do. And then I just finished it on a piece of foam core, pulling it around to the back and adding chenille trim around the edges, and I think it turned out really fun. So I also have that red, white, and blue coffee tin that I showed you last time that I'm going to figure out something for probably next summer, something patriotic, but it just made me start thinking about my tins in a new way, and I'm going to look for, I did find another one I'll show you later, but I'm going to look for more to do that with. So that was my first finish. And then well, of course I finished my camp project. So my camp project was this pattern from Modern Folk Embroidery. And this pattern features a long S. Let me tell you what Jacob says about the long S so I don't get it wrong. Let's see. He says, I know he says something because I remember reading it. Oh, he chose to chart the lettering exactly as it appeared in the book, where the long S replaces the common S we're used to seeing nowadays. All letters on this sampler were inspired by actual 18th and 19th century Quaker alphabet. I guess I probably looked that up to learn more about it, but the long S is used in the middle of a word. So you'll notice, like, it says bestow your alms and there's a regular S at the end. The long S wasn't typically used at the end of a word, but in the middle of the word. So as I was working on this, my mom mentioned that my grandfather came over, well, this part I knew, came over from Germany when he was in his late 20s. And his name in Germany was spelled with a, let's see, what was it called? A hard S. Long S? Hard S? I should remember that. Anyways, there's a German character that is like a double S, but it looks different in Germany. And when he came to Ellis Island and they were processing him through, they looked at his name, which was B-A, and then this hard S, and they said, we don't have that letter here in the United States. We're going to change your name to B-A-S-S, so Bass. And his first name was Hans, Johannes, I think, but they called him Hans, H-A-N-S. And so they changed his name to John Bass, although his, family and my grandmother called him Hans the rest of his life, not John, but officially I guess he was John Bass. So as I'm working on this, I thought this would be a perfect sampler for my grandfather. I shared with you that I am trying to do a sampler for each of my grandparents, all four of my grandparents, and then all four of Paul's grandparents, so that I can have on our sampler wall all of our grandparents honored with their name, their birth date, their birthplace. And so it has been really fun finding the perfect piece for each person. Well, I decided to make this my Grandpa Bass's sampler because the saying on this fits him perfectly too. Bestow your alms whene'er you see an object in necessity. And he was the kind of person, he was a hard worker. He came over here with, barely 2 pennies to rub together and got a job. He, of course, had to have a sponsor back then. And he started working for this woman, and then she said, you're such a hard worker. Do you have any brothers in Germany that would like to come over and work for me too? And so he was a mechanic all his life, hard worker, but this saying is so perfect for him because he was the kind of person who would notice when somebody needed something, and he would do everything he could to help that person, whether it was through church, whether it was through work, whether it was through friends and family. He and my grandmother were just wonderfully giving, serving people. And so I charted on my little graph paper his name, his place where he was, I don't know why I'm putting my glasses on, place where he was born, And I decided to put that at the bottom of the sampler. And of course it fit perfectly, and I was able to kind of jigger the two corners so that they matched up as well. Now the funny thing about this pattern is when I saw it I bought it on evertote.com. It calls for Leo and Roxy threads, which are just sold through Evertote. And when I looked at that photo, I thought, oh, it's a dark blue and it's like a golden brown and kind of a plummy brown. Well, they were out of that dark blue. So I thought, well, I'm just going to pick a different blue. So I picked, I'll put it in the box below. I don't remember the name of what I picked. I think it was Royale, maybe blue, that I picked. And I love how it all came out. I love how the colors go together. But when I saw it later, I guess when I saw the pattern itself, or when I saw it somewhere else later, I realized, no, I think it was charted in a black. So I totally changed that to a blue color, thinking that I was just going in a different shade. But I love how it turned out. I also, of course, I try to do this when I'm doing a sampler that has an alphabet. I did our four family members' initials, DJPS, in different letters. So I did those in yellow in that little alphabet. But it was super fun to stitch. It was a lot of blue. And you know how I feel about 1 or 2 color samplers, or samplers where there's a lot of one color. It's just so relaxing for me to stitch like single colors. I absolutely love it. So I really, really enjoyed working on this piece, and I'm really glad to have something that I did for my grandfather. And I hope I did justice. Now Michaela from Munich, I hope I did justice to that character that I used down there. I looked it up on the internet. I tried to design it so it really looks like the sharp S it's supposed to be. So fingers crossed I got that right. So that was my August camp project, and I think I last filmed, it was 4 weeks ago, but it was a week into August, so I had shared a start with you on that one already. And then the next one I completed was one of my Blackbird design projects. I have it in my project bag because I'm going to do another one out of this book, and I wanted to keep everything together. But I did this sampler from the back, and this is out of the Bells on Christmas Day. And the whole reason I picked it was that checkerboard house. I did this on 40 Count Sparrow from Luminous Fiber Arts. I loved working on that. And here's my finish. Now, it's a small sampler. I thought this would go a lot quicker. I don't know, for some reason it did not. It didn't feel like it went very fast. And then when I was done, okay, because I don't read directions, that is rule number 1 for knitters. Read through your directions before you start into your pattern, and I don't do that either. When I got done, or I think when I was going to do the satin stitches, which I also think I did wrong, but that's okay. I gotta look up how to do satin stitches. Mine look a little light. Anyway, I read that I was supposed to do all the berries in Algerian eye, and I did not, and I like doing that stitch. So that's the only difference I have on this particular one. And of course I did the different letters in the lowercase alphabet for our family, which is always fun. And okay, this is an example of Blackbird color magnificence, because when I pulled these colors, let me see if I can show a better, let's see. I don't know if I can show you. I hold them up against the back of this. So when I pulled these colors, there are colors in there that are like 2% different from each other. And I can't imagine as a designer picking a brown and then saying, oh, I also need this brown because it's like 2% different than the one I got. And I also need this one because it's also 2%. I mean, who does that? Like those colors, there's so many colors in there that are just like barely different. And yet, when you see it all together, of course it's magic. Of course it looks wonderful and perfect. That's the beauty of Blackbird. So I'm excited to get that one pulled together. And then the other one I want to do, well, I want to do several in here, but the other one that I want to do pretty darn quick is this one. So I'll have to do that for Christmas. I just thought that was a sweet little pin pillow with peace and the dove flying over the tiny little house. So that's on my list to do pretty soon. Okay, and then I did Stitchy Stars. And Stitchy Stars was so much fun to work on by Lori Holt. The funny thing is, I was working on it and I kept thinking, oh, this would look so cute in Christmas colors. And you could make a band to go around your Christmas card basket. I don't know if you send Christmas cards anymore. I haven't sent Christmas cards in years, but if you have such a basket, wouldn't that be cute? And then I thought it would be so pretty to do it in autumn colors. And I posted a starting project photo on my Instagram, and like 3 people said, wouldn't that be cute in Christmas colors? And I thought, wow, they're thinking the very same thoughts that I'm thinking. And I thought, well, of course they are, because this is a quilt squares, and quilters, that's all we do is think in terms of different colors that would look fun in it. So anyway, I think this is another one of those patterns that is super fun to have because it has a lot of applications. You could do one little square and make a scissor keep out of it. You could do a little square and put it on a card for a friend. I mean, there's just a lot of fun different ways you could use this particular pattern. So I did change out my 2 blues only because, not because I didn't like the blues that Lori used, because her colors are always perfect. But when I was pulling my DMC colors, when I wanted to make something else, and I was going through the drawers and I thought, oh, these 2 blues look great together. I'm just going to use those. So, and then I finished it and I have this old antique box, and I thought, well, that's going to be perfect to put on the front of that box. So here's my finish of the Stitchy Stars. Isn't that fun? And then I just did little pom-pom trim around the edges. I usually do some kind of trim because on things like this, I stretch it on a foam board. I pin it all along all the edges as I stretch it, and then I like to cover up the pins with some kind of trim. So I think this box, I'm going to keep my wooden hoops in it. I think. I don't know. But anyway, I thought it was perfect. And I did this on 36 count putty. And I liked the way the colors looked. And I also use, when I stitch on 36 count, I like to use 2 strands of floss. You know, I just like not heavier coverage, I like more saturated coverage. So for me, 1 strand, and I love stitching with 1 strand of thread, but 1 strand of thread on 36 count, especially on something that is so full coverage like this, just looks a little too subtle for me. So I did use 2 strands on 36 count for this, and I love the way it turned out. It was super fun to work on. And it didn't take very long. I think a weekend or a couple days or something. So that was another fun one. Okay, and then I doodled up a little cross-stitch camp patch because I thought, what could I do for people who participated in cross-stitch camp that would be just a fun commemoration of their participation this summer? I know a lot of people enjoyed it, and so I took the colors of the, I'm not going to say logo because it was a free image online that I used for cross-stitch camp, but I loved those colors, so I took those colors and I made it into a little patch. My thought here is I'm going to make a patch, design a little patch every year for cross stitch camp, and my thought is you can stitch the patch and maybe have a designated project bag for camp, and then stitch your patch onto your camp bag each year. My camp designated camp project bag was made by Christine. She's amazing. Little Patches of Heaven is her shop. I don't know if she actually has a shop. Anyway, she donated a project bag for camp prizes, and she sent me one, and look, she personalized this for me. Isn't that adorable? I mean, besides how cute the fabric is, Sherry, camp director, and then she put little buttons, a little camper in a tent. I absolutely love it. And then on the little zipper tag, it says 2021. So this is going to be my camp project bag every year, and I'm going to add my camp patches on it. Probably on the back, so that the front, I mean, the fabric is so perfect for camp. So I'll probably add all my patches on the back as we go along. So here is the Cross Stitch Camp patch for 2021. And what I did then around the edges here is I used the nun stitch, N-U-N, maybe N-U-N-N. It's basically going in U shapes all the way along the top of each square, and it prevents your fabric from raveling. So what I wanted to show you this on the big piece before I cut it down. What I will do is cut it down. I don't know, I don't want the fringe too long. Probably like this. Cut it down to like this much of a border, and then you can unravel it all the way down to the nun stitch, and then the nun stitch edging prevents it from unraveling further. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to sew it onto my camp project bag. So I will tell you in a little bit how to get your free copy of this if you are interested in making yourself a commemorative camp patch for this year. All right, then speaking about Lori Holt, who is always inspiring to me. I watch all of her Flosstubes. I do not watch her quilt videos, and here's why. I watch her quilt videos and then think I need to make everything that she shows because her colors are perfect. I love her colors. I love her fabrics. I love her patterns. And like I started watching her most recent one, and I watched like 10 minutes of it, and I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm turning this off, because she was showing, she has a book. Is it called School Days? You know what? I held Ollie, and now I've got Ollie fur on my face. Sorry, I keep rubbing my face. Anyway, her latest video, a quilt video, I think she did a quilt book that has all the different letters of the alphabet. And she made all the letters of the alphabet. They're like this big, perfect little, like oversized mug mats. And if you watch nothing else, I mean, you should watch the whole video, but if you watch nothing else, watch the intro, because she shows using those letters in all different combinations to spell out school, or, you know, I don't even remember, baseball, football. She spelled out all these words and had the cutest photo combinations. I will link to that video in my notes below. And I sat there thinking, well, I need all of those alphabet quilt mats because that is adorable. And then I got a hold of myself and realized I have no time for doing all that and turned off the video. But she, I'm telling you what, she is inspiring, and she is an amazing, amazing designer. So I encourage you to at least watch the beginning of that, especially if you do love quilting. Back to why I'm talking about Lori again, because her latest Flosstube video inspired me to design this next pattern. So she was talking about reds. She also loves stitching on red samplers. I think she's the one that started one red thread a day, where she puts in the morning one red thread's length into her current red sampler. And I have been collecting red threads and loving red samplers forever. Now, do I have one made? No. I'm working on Quaker Christmas, which is probably 95% red, 5% green. But I've been collecting reds, and I've been collecting Bristol samplers because I just am fascinated with the whole Bristol story. So she was talking about having a project bag just for her red threads. I am all about project bags, and I thought, why have I not thought about having a special container for all my red threads? Clearly I need to do that. So I decided to make a design for whatever container I decided to use. Well, Paul and I found this box when we were antiquing, which I thought, perfect. I'm going to put all my little red threads in there. And here's my combination of red threads so far. All different, some silks, some not, different companies. So in our shop, we have quotes above the windows. And I love all of the quotes that we have in the shop. One of them is, because we used to carry fabric in our shop as well, one of the quotes is, "My soul is fed with needle and thread." I know you've heard that before because there are a few cross-stitch designs that have that. My soul is fed with needle and thread. Well, I changed that saying to be, my soul is fed with thread that's red. And this is the design I made for my red thread box. And I put a tree on there because I want to continue to grow my red thread collection. I want to continue to grow my red sampler collection, and I just thought that was super fun. And not that you're going to necessarily find this exact box, so I went to Hobby Lobby and they have this box. Let's see, this box, nope, upside down. This box, which would be perfect to do the red thread design for the top of this box. It would also be really cute on a project bag itself. So stitch the design, stitch it onto your project bag, and keep your red threads in there if you're a red thread lover like I am. So that is another free design I have for you, and I will tell you how to get that in a second, but I just love how it turned out, and I just love red threads. So Lori, thank you. I know she doesn't watch my videos, but just in case, you inspired me to make something fun, and I love having the red threads. Okay, so 3 things to share. First thing is, and I don't think I shared this, a lot of times I'll get something and I'll think, oh, I got to tell my Flosstube friends, and then I don't remember, did I already tell them or did I not tell them? I don't think I've told you about this oilcloth. So okay, first of all, I'm going to insert a picture in just a second. At the antique store, there is a white table that is covered with blue and white checked oilcloth that I fell in love with. So I will put that picture right here. Isn't that cute? So I got online, I think it's like oilcloth.com or something. I will put the link below. Ordered 2 yards of this, which I think was like $25. It's not expensive, and I'm going to cover my sewing table like this. The other reason I like it is because I've had a problem with when I use the hot glue gun, then I get glue gunk, or when I use the tacky glue, I get it on the top of my table. This is going to be super easy to clean. So I am all about the oilcloth for this. And they have lots of different patterns, lots of different colors, and they shipped really quick. So I will put that link below. My second thing that I'm having fun with is old books. So I keep these books in my cubby in the basement, which I shared my craft room. It might be my Flosstube number 11. I'm not sure. But I keep these in some of the cubbies just for fun. So I have books from when I was young. Mr. Schnitzel's Cookies, which I love that book. I recently got The Little Mailman of Bayberry Lane. Also love this book. I, of course, have fun with Dick and Jane because I look through these illustrations and it just reminds me so much of learning to read and all of that fun stuff, Dick and Jane. Well, I was working on some Halloween patterns, And it reminded me, I don't know, it was some prairie schooler, and one of the things reminded me of a Halloween song that I had totally forgotten about. And I'm not even sure what grade I learned it. But I could remember I'm not going to sing it for you, but I could remember the melody and everything. So I Googled the lyrics, and sure enough, it came up. And I went on eBay and found the music book from, I think it was like 4th grade. I don't know. But the lyrics for Halloween night are witches, pumpkin heads and black bats, scary spooks, and black cats. Oh, it's Halloween. Halloween's the night to dress up like a sight, to give your friends a fright. Look out, it's Halloween. Now, does anybody remember that song? Because when I Googled it, there were all these people talking about that song that they remembered. And I don't know why it was so memorable, but anyways, here it is in my book. And as I'm flipping through this book, it just like there were so many songs that I remember us singing during those years. I remember the teacher used to pull the piano into the room, and she would play like Aunt Dinah's Quilting Party. Do you remember that song? Aunt Dinah's Quilting Party? Oh my goodness. So that's another thing I'm into right now, is all of these old books. Super fun. And then the last thing is finding other things for displaying finished pieces or projects. So I told you I found another tin that is going to be perfect for some kind of a round thing on top, but I just thought those green colors, that's looking way too yellow in the video, but the green colors down here are so pretty, and I'm going to find a single color pattern that I love. I'm going to match the green exactly and then do it on the top, and I'll find some kind of cream colored fabric that's going to look good on there too. The fun thing about using old tins is you really can then go to your DMC or your overdyed collection and find an exact match to what you want to do, and so the finishing looks even better on it. I found this little dustpan, which I thought would be adorable for a finish right in here, like a Christmas finish, and then prop it up somewhere, so I'm looking forward to using that. And there's just enough scuff and rust on this that I think it's going to be fun. I found this, I didn't even take the price tag off, $8 price tag. This oversized tin that's also going to be fun for some kind of a round finish in there. A little narrow. It's got enough old patina on it that I think that'll be fun. I found this, and I've showed you my other, and I think this is for teacups, cup and saucer, I don't know. But I thought this one was really cute with the little cottagey looking cutouts, and I'm just picturing something for some Christmas decorations, you know, pin keep and a little tiny pin keep or something, I don't know. So that's going to be a fun one to play with. And then I also found this frame today, solid wooden frame, and I just love it. I love the whole design of it, the simplicity of it. Simple but not boring, so I will figure out the perfect pattern to go in that one. So that's my third thing, is really just, we have an antique store about 3 minutes down the road from our house, which is dangerous, but I do only go about once a month because, you know, if you go more than that, things don't change. There's not enough new stuff in there. So anyway, that was fun. All right, on to, let's see, make sure I showed you all my things. On to big news. All right. We're adding cross-stitching supplies to the Loopy U, and I am so excited I can't even stand it. We've been working on this project for 2 months, and we're going to open in a couple of weeks, and I just wanted to tell you about it. So when I first started floss tubing last summer, well actually when I first started cross-stitching again, which is in 2017, people would say, are you going to add cross-stitching supplies to your shop? And I'm like, oh no, I don't have time for any of that. And I was emphatic, oh, absolutely not, this is just for fun. And then as the years go by and more people ask, I notice each time my answer was a little less sure. And I went from, oh, absolutely not, to, oh, yeah, no, that would be fun, but no, we're not, to, no, we're not going to finally, absolutely, we're going to add cross-stitching supplies to the shop. So I am really excited about it. It's been a huge project. We have a 7,000 square foot shop, the Loopy U, and it used to be half yarn and half fabric, and we had fabric for probably 7 years, and then got to the point where we phased out the fabric so that we could expand the yarn shop. And we expanded, but there was this room, big area, not even a separate room, in the back that I, in my mind, was saving for a classroom or big stitching, knitting groups, or what have you, and it just remained empty. I didn't need the space for yarn, and the more I thought about it, the more I thought, that would really be perfect for cross stitching. It's got beautiful windows, it's a beautiful area, it's got wonderful lighting, and so that's where we're putting our cross stitching. Now, why am I adding cross stitching to the shop? Stitching has meant so much to me throughout my life, but also especially during COVID. I finished so many projects since COVID started because it was so relaxing to come home and stitch. And there's something about stitching by hand, needle and thread, that is just, I can almost feel my blood pressure going down. Not that I have high blood pressure, but it's just so comforting. And I love the stitching community. I absolutely, especially just getting to know more and more people throughout my Flosstube journey, throughout the cross stitch camp. What a lovely, lovely community. And I just wanted to share this hobby and my love for it with other people, both all of you online, which I hope that I've done through Cross Stitch Camp and my Flosstube, but also all of the local people that we have in town. I just really want to help promote the industry. And I want to support the designers and the makers, because there are some amazing, amazingly talented people out there. And I can support them with a shop. And so for all of those reasons, I decided to just jump in and go. So what will we have in the shop? Well, first of all, it's going to be under the Colorado Cross Stitcher name. What I learned with fabric is the knitters don't like fabric mucking up their website. The fabric people don't like knitters mucking up their website. And I'm assuming it's the same with cross stitching. Not that some of those people don't do both, but if you're thinking in terms of, I need to go order yarn, you don't want to have to sort through the flosses and the new pattern designs to get to the yarn that you're looking for. So we're going to have two separate websites so that you can go looking for cross stitching when you need it, and you can go looking for yarn when you need it. You know that I love samplers. It's like the 3 S's: samplers, seasonals, and smalls. I want a sampler wall in my house. I want a seasonal wall where I can do fun seasonal types of pieces that rotate out, and I love having smalls that I can sprinkle around. So that's what we're going to focus on with our shop: samplers, seasonals, and smalls. Now the only bad thing about starting this shop is I've taken all of my samplers off my wall, all of my stitch pieces, and taken them all to the shop. So I'm going to have to work on a new wall for my own self, and I'll get those back eventually and I'll rotate them home, but boy, my wall looks really empty right now. But that space at the shop looks really beautiful. And let me put a picture in right here of just a little corner of the new space. So we're super excited about it. We've got DMC, Weeks, Gentle Arts, Classic Colorworks, and NPI Silks. Remember when I asked you what your favorite silk line was? NPI, overwhelmingly, hands down, the top winner. And I can see why. It's beautiful, beautiful silk to work with. I'm so excited about carrying it. The people are delightful. They had my order shipped out the same day I ordered it, which is just unbelievable. So I'm really looking forward to having that. We have a lot of fabric on order. We have fabric in, but I have a lot of hand-dyed fabrics on order from Fox and Rabbit and Weeks, and I'm going to get an order in with Jukas this week too, X-Jude Designs. So that will be ever expanding. You know, right now, right when we start, we're not going to have a ton of the fabrics because they're so hard to get right now. The supply issue has been an issue all throughout COVID. So, but we will continue to expand that. And then we'll always focus on getting your orders out within 24 hours. That has been something that we were committed to doing in the 15 years I've had the yarn shop, which we will obviously continue with. And we are going to absolutely do that with our cross-stitch orders as well, because I know you don't want to wait for orders. I don't want to wait for orders. We'll only show on the website what we have in stock, and we'll get them out to you quickly. And we'll be available to you by phone and email if you need help, if there's anything we can do for you. So I'm really excited about that. I'm going to keep floss tubing just like I'm doing now, sharing what I'm working on, sharing my haul, sharing my ideas. I probably will put just like a 5-minute shop update at the very end of the video. So if you're interested in it, you can watch. If you're not, you can just exit out at that point, because I want to keep my floss tubes the same. So again, we're anticipating opening in a couple of weeks, both online and in store, and I cannot wait. All right, so now how to get your free camp pattern and your free red thread pattern. So we have a landing page started for ColoradoCrossStitcher.com. If you go to ColoradoCrossStitcher.com, there is a place where you can enter your email address, and we will send you a newsletter when we open up. If you would like to keep in touch with us that way, please enter your email address in there. Also, there is a link underneath that to get your free pattern. You do not have to give me your email address to get a free pattern. That's just my gift to you. I just want you to have that. But if you are so inclined and want to be on our newsletter list, please sign up for that too. So I will leave a link in the comment section below to that Colorado Cross Stitcher landing page. Keep your eye on that because we'll be coming at you in a couple weeks. All right, plans for next time. Well, I have a whole pile of project bags of things that I want to work on. First, my Showstopper stitch along, which is his eyes on the sparrow. So I was motivated to start this when I was watching Brenda and Laura, Brenda and the Serial Starter, because Brenda is going to start Lily's, what's the rest of that pattern name? Well, it's by Heartstring, and it's it's not Lilies of the Valley. Anyway, it's the same thing, whereas this has animals. That one features beautiful plants and flowers and trees, I think. So I would love to do that one also. But when she was talking about it, it made me think, I've always wanted that his eye is on the sparrow. And I have the book, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to say it's going to be Showstopper Stitch Along time. So this is what I'm going to do. I have not started it yet. I was going to start the other day when I pulled the fabric and the flosses, and then I got into my Quaker Christmas. But I'm using all the called for colors except for I'm using Cayenne Weeks Dye Works for, I think it's Colonial Red, Colonial Redwood. Whatever red is called for 2 skeins. I happen to have 2 skeins of this, and I compared the colors and they're like exactly the same. So otherwise, I'm using all the called for. I'm doing it on 25 count Lugana 1/1, which is one of my favorite things to stitch on. And this thing is huge, so even on 25 count, and I think I did a 2.5 inch border, it's still going to be really big. So I can't wait to get started, and especially when I pulled these colors because they're gorgeous. It's hard to get a real representation of colors in something that's one-dimensional. But don't these just look absolutely gorgeous? So that is priority number one, and I'm going to start that this weekend. It's Labor Day weekend. I have extra time, so I'm really excited to start that. Then I ordered silks from the Silk Palace, the attic. It's not called the Silk Palace. Don't go looking for the Silk Palace, but in my mind, they're the Silk Palace. So I ordered silks for Hannah Hetherington. Boy, I just love those blues. Don't you love that? And that's a combination. Oh no, it's Dinky Dyes. So I ordered that. Also ordered silks for Elizabeth Furness, Averaswa silks from the attic, because I just love the colors in that. And to my point about them not showing as well in one dimension, I can only imagine how gorgeous this is going to be in real color. That border is beautiful, the green grass at the bottom and all the colors. So I've got silks coming from them, possibly fabric, but they weren't sure if they had the fabric. And then, you know, I shared this last time. I haven't started it yet. Jane Bannister. Still want to do that one. And I have all the silks already. And I think it was an attic conversion. So if you'd like the attic conversion, contact them. And those are all... What kind of silks are these? Hold please. These are Soie d'Alger. So I have all the Soie d'Alger silks for that Jane Bannister ready to go. I have the fabric. I'm not sure what I'm using. I think I'm using 40 count Country Mocha. Looks like. Again, Country Mocha is one of my favorite go-to fabrics. I do love hand-dyed fabrics, but what I love about Country Mocha, it's a printed fabric, so it's printed to look hand-dyed. I don't know if you can see that. I feel like it's there, maybe? It's printed to look hand-dyed, but it's very evenly dyed. And I know a lot of you guys like the huge big splotches of, you know, color here or lack of color there on the hand dyeds. I don't want the fabric to take attention away from the stitching. So I like this because I like the subtle variation. It looks like an old map to me, but it's predictable. On the back, let me see if I can fold this. Country Mocha on the back is just a beautiful tan color. So you can see that one side is printed and one side is not printed. So I'm doing it on 40 count Country Mocha. Need to start this one. I've been wanting to start this one for a while, and I've had the silks for a while. So, and then the other one that I have in my mental queue is one that I did start but haven't gotten back to. And that is With the Needle too. Now see, I pull this out and I think, oh, that is so beautiful. I have to get at it. All right, by Lila's Studio. And I think I'm doing this on 40 count mallow, and I just have this much done. So I haven't worked on it since the last time I showed it to you, but look at that. Look at that bird border. Isn't that beautiful? So those are my on the list for coming soon, need to work on immediately kind of thing. I need more time. I need more stitching time. I need like a week off a month to just stitch. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, lastly, a couple last things. Giveaway from last time. So this beautiful project bag is from Deborah from Joyful Stitching, and she is so amazing. She supports my Flosstube. She wants to give away a project bag each time, one a month, and she's just wonderful. And her project bags are beautiful. They come with a little floss keeper and she always tucks a little skein of floss in there that matches. And so she is Joyful Stitching Store on Etsy. Joyful Stitching Store. I will link her below. So this bag is this adorable gnome bag. I had to buy one of these for my very own the minute I saw it. And the winner of this, you had to use the word August in your comment last time, is Glenda Northcutt. So Glenda, you have yourself a cute gnome bag. Contact me, email me. My email address is below, and send me your address and I will get this right out in the mail to you. Okay. So this time my giveaway is 2 different patterns. So keep in mind you're welcome to sign up for both or throw your hat in for both. The first one is Country Christmas 1 by Annie B's Folk Art. And that's this, and you're going to use the word Christmas if you would like to be entered into that drawing. This is adorable. It has a wood paneled station wagon with the Christmas tree on top, hot cocoa, wreath, a ice skates, and a Christmas tree. They would make adorable ornaments, and there's 5 of them. So you could also do them like in a long column and do kind of a bell pull kind of a thing. So Christmas, if you would like that one. The next one is from the Blue Flower, and I remember when she came out with this pattern, I just thought it was beautiful. The vines along the side, the yellow house, the butterfly, the animals. This is Huckleberry Farm, and you're going to use the word Blue Flower in your comment if you'd like to be entered in this drawing. And that is Huckleberry Farm from the Blue Flower. Of course, you have to be 18 because I have to get your address to ship the prize. Don't say giveaway. Don't say all the other things you're not supposed to say. I don't remember. Contest, drawing, whatever. Because we don't want the bots to win. We want cross-stitchers to win. All right, question of the day. And this is our last thing. What are you most looking forward to this fall? I am so glad that the fall season is here. It's my favorite season of the year, and I have a lot of things I'm looking forward to. I can't wait to have stitchers in the shop. I can't wait to be sending orders out to all of you. Our son's coming to visit next week, and we haven't seen him since April. Cannot wait to see him. And I've got a couple other things going on this fall that I'm really looking forward to. So what are you most looking forward to this fall? Leave a comment below. All right, that's all for today. Do not forget to hop over to ColoradoCrossStitcher.com if you're interested in that. That's where the free patterns are. That's where you can sign up to be on our newsletter list. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to my Flosstube channel if you want to keep up with me and the things I'm working on here. And again, thank you so much for taking time to watch my Flosstube. I so appreciate you, and I look forward to visiting with you the next time. All right, bye-bye.